Whereas not much is actually happening in Portland, except for legal battles. A lot is happening on the ground in Chicago. 106, please. Um, and here you have a lot of activity. Here's the AP headline: using helicopters and chemical agents, immigration agents probably need to get the word rep out of that headline. Become increasingly aggressive in Chicago. There are reports that they've taken U.S. citizens into custody, at least temporarily. And the governor of Illinois, is having none of it. Here is some X action from Governor Pritzker, 107A. This evening, this is from last night. President Trump is ordering 400 members of the Texas National Guard for deployments in Illinois, Oregon, and other locations. No officials from the federal government called me directly to discuss or coordinate. Another set of tweets from Governor Pritzker. We must now start calling this what it is: Trump's invasion. It started with federal agents. It will soon include deploying federalized members of the Illinois National Guard against our wishes, and it will now involve sending in another state's military troops. I call on Governor Abbott of Texas to immediately withdraw any support for this decision and refuse to coordinate. There's no reason a president should send military troops into a sovereign state without their knowledge, consent, or cooperation. Dan, how does this one end?
I don't know, because, for the first time since Trump has started doing this, there have been some optics that don't look good for the federal government. Just like when there was a Mexican flag in Los Angeles and stuff, and I said that looked really bad for those arguing, like, that ISIS, that the protests were peaceful and that stuff. Some of the images of the almost naked children having their hands tied on the side of the street does not look good. And so I'm not sure how this ends, but I think if Trump is going to expand this into more and more cities, predominantly blue cities, and you see instances where it sure looks like they're being more aggressive than necessary, I think the public is already getting wobbly on this. I don't think it's going to be great for Trump. I think it has been good, but it could start becoming a problem for him.
Sean, do you see any optics issues or legal issues?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go back to what I said before and what I said about DC. DC is unique. It worked well there for a lot of legal reasons. I think calling in troops from another National Guard state into a random state is where you're going to have legal problems.
What do you think? What do you think?
And by the way, if a Democrat called in the Illinois National Guard to Texas to do so, I mean, can you fathom if a Democrat was doing this into a southern state?
No.
Let
me ask you a question.
Maybe
you guys think this is obvious, but Newsom continues to lead national polls, sometimes tied with Harris, but he clearly has benefited from on social media and the courts going after. Pritzker's not benefiting the same way. There's no indication that he's from a big state. He's from a state with a lot of media. He's from a state in the central time zone. Maybe the answer is obvious, but Dan, why is Pritzker not getting a 28 bump, even though he's basically doing what Newsom did to get a bump?
I think part of it is the way that Newsom communicates. I mean, Newsom kind of understands how to poke the bear, how to be short and punchy. Like you hear Newsom and it sounds defensive, or it almost sounds like a written statement being broken into multiple.
You mean Pritzker?
I'm sorry, Pritzker being broken into like multiple tweets, but it's not. His personality and the way that he's kind of pushed back, to me, seems very old school, almost like Jeffries and Schumer. Whereas Newsom is more like Trump, which is more catchy and more attention grabbing. So I just think Pritzker, it's how he's doing it.
Sean, if you were a comms advisor to Pritzker and he said, "Look, I'm doing this because it's the right thing to do, but I also want to get a 28 bump out of it. What should I do differently?" What would you tell him to do differently?
I mean, I think this goes back to, I agree with everything that Dan said. I think presentation matters and how he comes across. I think you have to figure out how to utilize what you consider his strengths. You can't make him into Gavin Newsom. He's image-wise, Gavin looks, has a look to him, has an ability to speak in sound bites. I think you have to really have an analysis of what works well for him and try to maybe. Look, you think about even when he did that one event on the river and he's got Trump Tower behind him. The optics were horrible. Like, he doesn't. I frankly think you need to bring in more people and say, okay, guys, tell me how to, because right now his team is failing him.
Yeah, I'm as you know, a Pritzker skeptic for 28. And to me, this is like a laboratory experiment. He gets a fair amount of coverage. He's not shy about doing stuff, and yet no bounce whatsoever. So, Dan, am I wrong to treat this as a 28 kind of dry run? Or
Sure, of course. I mean, anytime you get a chance to be in the spotlight, and again, you have a pack of 15 people. Newsom broke out of the pack, right? AOC has been out of the pack for 4 or 5 years. This is your moment if you're JB Pritzker to show the party that you've got a nimbleness and a fight to take it to Trump. And he just seems super kind of reactive. And he just, I'm trying to think of the right word to describe it. But
see, I would argue, I would take issue with what your analysis that he's doing it differently than Newsom. I think it's virtually identical. I don't think it's any more old school. I just think the dog won't eat the dog food, that people in the Democratic Party do not look at him and say, that's the guy who's going to break our electoral college
But
problem.
this goes back to presentation.
I don't know about that.
Look, I think Pritzker doesn't look the part. Okay,
that's what I think. That's what I think.
know, but I mean, like, he's frumpy, he's old. I mean, Newsom is stylish and hip. He knows when to wear his black shirt, untuck it, and with jeans to look hip and stylish. Pritzker looks like a roly-poly plump, like,
that's
guy.
what I think.
The only reason, Mark, I'll disagree with you is when Pritzker went to, I think it was New Hampshire, and when he was in Washington for the DGA, and he got more forceful and punchy, he broke through a little bit. I mean, we even said here, his trip to New Hampshire went fairly well. He got some good local press. When he's more aggressive in terms of the presentation, and again, I can't think of the right way to describe this. Like, how did Newsom break out? Newsom was complaining about Trump for a long time, and in the wildfires and everything else, he looked terrible. But when he got punchy and catchy and used some humor and was taunting and in his face, the party was like, oh, look at this. It's new. Somebody's doing this. Pritzker doesn't seem to be capable of any of that.
Okay.
But I think there's a difference.
They say that something that's easy is like a walk in the park. Well, easier than a walk in the park, hit the subscribe button, be part of the two-way community, never miss an episode, be part of our conversations. Thank you for your service to America.
And don't forget, you can now listen to the morning meeting and Two-Way Tonight on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.